Hey guys, I am so insanely irritated. Man, I just spent hours editing a previous video and I can't believe this. I was almost done and YouTube ate it. I am so bitter. Seriously, I recorded it like before noon even, and then like outside because it was a nice warm day. And I've just been editing because I actually, oh my god, this is probably a good thing that it went away because I actually like attempted to sing for you guys, and singing with heart failure, not good. Like, not that I'm a good singer anyway, but it was just not good. Um, so I'm just gonna link you to my power song. Um, I'm just really disappointed though because I was going through and like editing segments of it and entering text with all the lyrics, and it was really beautiful and cool, and it's gone and I'm so mad. And now it's after midnight and I feel guilty for not getting this up sooner, so I'm gonna go ahead and just share some information on this week's topic, which is eating disorders and comorbid pathologies. Okay, so I'm just going to share with you what the different mental health axes are. Axis 1 is the original pathology, like, let's say you've got comorbid mental illnesses. It would be one that is independently diagnosed, like it's its own intrinsic condition rather than a symptom of another one. I'll read you a better definition, hang on. Axis 1 is the primarily diagnosed mental health disorder. Axis 2 is deferred, meaning the doctor does not have enough information to determine if the diagnosis is an independent mental illness or a symptom of another. Axis 3 is medical, like any medical issue that could influence mental health, like brain cancer or TB or STD, like gonorrhea can go to the mind after, if it's like chronic for a long time, that kind of thing. Like a medical reason or an organic reason going on that could affect mental health. Axis 4 is support system and life stressors, whether or not you are actively involved in life and family. And Axis 5 is GFS, which is how well the doctor feels you're functioning. So that just gives you an idea, like, of the criterion. So when we're talking about Axis 1, we're talking about independent pathologies, which probably will help you understand this abstract better. Axis 1, comorbid conditions. So these are independent diagnoses. These are not symptoms of. And I actually have some research here from the NIH, which is National Institutes of Health from the U.S. government. And this is a study that addresses this subject really well, and the abstract kind of sums up what I was wanting to share. So I'm going to share that with you, and I'll link you guys as well. Okay. Psychiatric comorbidity in patients with eating disorders. The structural clinical interview for the DSM-3R, this is an older study obviously, SCID and SCID-2, which are like shorthand for what they named the study, was administered to 105 eating disorder inpatients in order to examine rates of comorbid psychiatric disorders and the chronological sequence in which these disorders develop. That's important, and I'll talk about that. 86 patients, 81.9% of the sample, had Axis 1 diagnoses in addition to their eating disorder. Depression, anxiety, and substance dependence were the most common comorbid diagnoses. Anorexic restrictors were significantly more likely than bulimics, all subtypes, to develop their eating disorder before other Axis 1 comorbid conditions. Personality disorders were common among the subjects. 69% met criteria for at least one personality disorder diagnosis. Of the 72 patients with personality disorders, 93% had Axis 1 comorbidity. Patients with at least one personality disorder were significantly more likely to have an affective disorder or substance dependence than those with no personality disorder. Okay, so this is a lot of psych med jargon here. But basically what they were examining is how common is it for there to be comorbid pathologies or illnesses along with, and are they independent diagnoses or are they as a result of one diagnosis coming first. Axis 1 is like standalone, organic, independently manifested. And the DSM, of course, is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. And it's like the Bible of psychiatry. It defines mental illnesses and diagnostic criteria and different subtypes and basically any mental health pathologies in there. We're coming up on the release of 5th edition. So what this study was saying is that most of the patients had other mental illnesses. Depression, anxiety, and substance dependence were the most common. Anorexics more likely than bulimics to develop them before other conditions, their other comorbid conditions, and then getting into the personality disorders and stuff. But I'm going to stick to the more common ones that we're all familiar with. In addition to depression, anxiety, and substance dependence, some of the others are OCD, paranoia. There's a lot. There's so many. Let's see. Where's the one I wanted? Eating disorder, symptom severity, and psychiatric comorbidity. This is an interesting study as well that I wanted to share with you guys. Patients with eating disorders frequently exhibit additional psychiatric disorders. This study aimed to examine whether psychiatric comorbidity in ED patients is associated with increased severity of ED symptoms. In a sample of 277 women with a current ED, 84 anorexia nervosa, 152 bulimia nervosa, which, interestingly enough, correlates to general stats. There are at least twice as many bulimics as there are anorexics. But then there's like twice that of binge eating. So interesting that they did the anorexia and bulimia in proportion to population stats. Okay. 41 EDNOS patients. Psychiatric comorbidity of Axis 1 and 2, which I just explained, was determined using the Structured Clinical Interview, SCID, for DSM-4. Okay, so this is a newer study than the one I read before. Severity of ED-related symptoms was assessed using interviewer-rated scales from the Structured Interview for Anorexia and Bulimia Nervosa, SIAB. Affective and anxiety-related disorders of both axes were linked with increased intensity of weight and appearance-related fears and concerns. Frequency of binge eating and frequency of purging both were associated with Axis 1 anxiety disorders, substance-related disorders, and Cluster B personality disorders. I can go into that too. Frequency of dieting was related to anxiety disorders on both axes, Multivariate analyses revealed that psychiatric comorbidity of both axes is linked with increased severity of ED symptoms, and that there are associations between specific ED symptoms and specific forms of comorbidity. So again, this is just like a study that confirms the background information that we have, that conditions do occur together, and also it is common for conditions that are going on with your ED to make your ED symptoms worse. So yeah, really interesting study there. So I'll provide links for both of these. So what I'm gonna do, I guess I'll be brave and just attach my pathetic attempt at singing my power song. I'll try to do the lyrics again, but if it messes up again, I'm just gonna post it and I'll put the lyrics in the description, because I keep running out of breath. I can't even finish each line, so you won't be able to understand it if you haven't heard the song before. Anyway, much love, be well, precious ones. See you next week.